Pelle Larsson, NBA Draft Scouting Report Series. By the way, I've always said Pelle Larsson, but you're our overseas pronunciation specialist. Is it Pelle?
I
Pelle?
believe it is Pelle
Pelle.
Larsson.
Pelle Larsson. Well, I love Pelle Larsson, the player, even though I still can't pronounce his name. And he's been one of the more fun, kind of complimentary guys in college basketball the last few years, on some really good Arizona teams the last 2 years, and blossomed as a starter his final season. He had a little bit of a decision if he was going to go to the draft or not. Ultimately, he is staying in the draft. And Larsson slots in at 47th on our collective big board. I had him 52nd. Riley, you were the highest out of all four of us. You ranked Pelle Larsson 41st overall, so it is good to have you on this panel. Let's get to our categories. One word to describe Pelle Larsson.
Said do everything with a hyphen there to cheat to make it one word.
Garbage.
Uh, but he can drive off of like 2 to 3 dribbles. Arizona used him some as a screener. One-on-one defense is pretty good. Like he can keep threes and fours out of the paint. Had some moments last year where he forced some guys into tough shots. Even came up with a couple blocks here and there. He's a pretty good passer as well. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a creator, but there's one highlight that sticks out to me. Arizona's game at home against Washington. They ended up winning by like 25. It was just a nuclear Caleb Love game. But Pell hit Caleb Love with this skip pass from the top of the key within the first 5 minutes. That's like, okay, he didn't need a ball screen to do it. He just had good vision and executed it. And that to me is the type of plays that I note where it's like, an NBA team's not going to run stuff for Pelle Larsson. He's just going to have to fit in with whatever lineup he's in. And if you can just go in there, make the most of your touches and not suck and not mess up, you have a shot. So yeah, that's kind of where I sort of envision Pelle with his game, his role,
Yeah.
and how it could translate.
Yeah, be cerebral, read and react. He's a good passer for like a secondary off-ball guy. He's a great
Mhm.
shooter, 43% from three this last year. He actually started his career at Utah and then transferred to Arizona. He started 18 games as a freshman at Utah, transferred to Arizona where he played less minutes and started less games. I kind of like that. Like I like guys, normally you see the opposite. You want to transfer for more minutes. Larson was like, no, I want to win games and be a whatever I need to do. Like I like that
Mhm.
move. My word for Pella is underutilized because if you remember a summer ago, I believe he was playing in some FIBA event overseas and like putting up great numbers. There were clips hitting the social media channels of like, damn, he's like really doing some on ball stuff. It's time to see him in a more featured role. And he did play more minutes. He did start more games as a senior from his junior season where he was kind of in and out sixth man. All his numbers went up, except he never really was featured, and that's because nobody's featured when you're playing next to Caleb Love. It just is what
Mhm.
it is. So I don't think he's going to be featured in the NBA, but I think if you're looking for a guy in the early second round, or maybe even late first round, who has upside that we don't know, and it is a complimentary guy, Pelle Larsson is one that really fits. Is he more likely to hit his floor or his ceiling in the NBA?
I would say his floor, but I believe he has a very high floor. I think he can be competent and stick with a team and crack a rotation. I don't know what the timeline is going to be. I would guess he'll spend some time in the G League before sort of steadying out with a team. But yeah, he feels like a relatively safe pick at that point in the draft, somewhere in that 40 to 50 range.
I said ceiling strictly because I believe in him. I don't think there's much difference between his floor and his ceiling. And I wanted to be positive on Pella because I really like this player. Best team fit. I feel like he could go anywhere. It won't be surprise to me wherever he gets picked, like timing wise in the draft. So every team is on the table here. What's the best fit for Pella?
I said the Kings. I believe they have an early second round pick. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but he feels just very Kingsy with this newer iteration where you can play him off of Fox. Like he's you mentioned he's malleable. He's used to playing with guards who have the ball in their hands a lot, whether that's Fox, whether that's if they bring Malik Monk back. They already have the European connection with Domantas Sabonis. Get him a buddy who's another international guy there. And I think you can, if you're a team that's looking to get back to the playoffs, like the Kings are after this letdown of the season, it doesn't hurt you to take a guy with a high floor who doesn't make mistakes and can shoot.
I like that spot. I just want him to go to a good team, which is why I landed on the Denver Nuggets.
Ooh,
I
that'd be a
see
really good
him
fit.
just flying around, playing off of Jokic and Murray, and making shots, guarding, catching lobs. It would be such an easy, fun fit. It would really work. Peak year stats. His best year in the NBA. What do the numbers look like for Larson?
7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists.
I went high here. I went 12 points a game, 4 rebounds,
Wow.
2 assists, 42% from three. I really buy that the shot is going to translate. Like, I think we're going to see him shoot better in the NBA than we even did in college. And especially if he lands on a fit, like we talked about, on a ready made playoff ready team. In 5 years, where is Pelle Larsson? All NBA, all star, starter, bench, G League, overseas, and podcaster are the options.
I was gonna go G League, but you sound really high on him, and I was the highest of the big board with in the 41. Maybe I should say I'm gonna say G League, just mathematically speaking. I'm sorry, Pella. It's nothing against you. I believe in you, but not all these guys are gonna be on an NBA bench. So some of y'all got to be in the G.
Yeah, I respect how real you're keeping it. I went bench. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought about starter, and maybe I was too low on my big board here. There's not many. If you watch the other videos I'm on for this, there are not many guys in this range that I'm camping for like this. This is
Mm-hmm.
like one of three guys I really do believe will carve out a role at some point, and I think he will hopefully have the luxury of being taken by a team that is ready to win based on where he's being mocked, that hopefully could allow him the opportunities we're talking about, where it's a very simple role, play your role and earn your minutes. Most likely to, out of every player in this draft, Pelle Larsson is the most likely to what?
Have a moment where he's just running his mouth like crazy against the U.S. team in the Olympics. I feel like he kind of has some of that chaotic energy. I have no idea what Sweden's basketball team is like in general in the Olympics, but I just think he's gonna be one of those international national dudes who relishes getting to like gang up with his Swedish boys and hopefully keep it competitive against the U.S. And I don't know, he's a lot more fiery than I think he gets credit for.
He is definitely very fiery and competitive. I love doing this category when you and I are on these videos because I just see your eyes light up every time. Like your creative juices get going is the best. I couldn't narrow this down. I have two for Pelle Larsson. My first one is that he's most likely to be named the Bachelor. I think there's definitely a world where he becomes like a heartthrob and one of those dudes who like he's not good enough to stick in the league, but the Bachelor gets to list his job title as NBA player, even if he like plays for the Scranton G League team. It could work, and he has the profile. Look at the
Yeah,
headshot.
he
Tell me it
does.
doesn't look like a Bachelor
It's a
headshot.
good looking headshot. It's a good looking headshot.
My second one, shout out to Chase Budinger, most likely to be an Olympian in a different sport one day.
I I am convinced. You do not like. There is no way that Pelle Larsson isn't a disgusting volleyball player.
Right. He's like
You
high
don't want to see that
flying.
man in sand volleyball. I guarantee you he's nasty at that.
I don't know if Sweden even plays this, but like I feel like he'd be very good at handball for some reason.
I think he'd be good at handball. I could see him being like a javelin thrower or doing a high jump, like some true field events.
Yeah. All around
That's a
athlete, man.
great pull.
We've talked ourselves into Pelle Larsson. If you like this video, we have 74 more for all of the players on our big board leading up to the NBA draft. Go watch them on the channel. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.